Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us again.
Pleasure.
We have obviously had you on a LinkedIn Live before, which went down like a storm for PGC. So we thought, let's get you back in the hot seat, do a longer, unedited version, and hear a little bit more about your background, who you are, where you are today, and also seeking a little bit of how PGC have been part of that journey as well.
Sounds great.
Fab.
Let's
So
go.
should we kick off with a little bit about you, Primis, obviously, kind of what you specialise in, where you've got offices currently based?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been in recruitment 24 years. So you can see the grey hairs coming through on the camera. So this is probably like my third kind of company in recruitment. So I started off with S3. I was there for 6 years. Then MD of another recruitment business for 15 years, and then launched Primis 2 years ago. So we're now, after 2 years, we're at 8 million revenue, just under 40 heads, and we've got offices London, Birmingham, and New York.
Amazing. And what are you specialising in?
So purely tech recruitment. So everything full tech life cycle, contract and permanent. So we're about a kind of 40% contract, 60% perm split at the moment. Everything kind of tech life cycle. So, from developers, product managers, through to infrastructure, C-suite hiring, that kind of side of things.
Yeah, fab. And assuming UK office came before the US?
It did, yeah. Well, it kind of launched kind of similar times, yeah. So obviously I've kind of launched and run US businesses before. And for me, it was, top when I built the business kind of in my bedroom, as everyone does when you build a new business. The roadmap was very much, let's get to the US as quick as possible. I love the US market. Anyone who speaks to me or knows me knows how much I love it. So it was just a no-brainer to kind of open up simultaneously. Obviously, our first physical offices were London, and then we started applying for our kind of visa situation literally within about two or 3 months of trading.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how long did you do what we would call a recruit from afar?
So it was probably about eight or 9 months. When we were first trading, also waiting, obviously, visa process. We were just coming out of COVID as well. So obviously the embassy was kind of locked down. So that kind of delayed us a little bit. But 8 or 9 months recruiting from the UK, working US hours from the UK. And then, we boots on the ground probably about kind of 14 months ago now.
Nice. And how many consultants did you have? Did you kind of say at the start, who's keen to go to the US?
So we obviously, the great thing with running it from the UK first is you can really kind of clone the culture and then take that out to the US market. So we initially took launched it with 2 people from the UK, went over to the US, and then we've hired in the US market from there. So currently we've got 6 people in the US in New York, and they're a mixture of kind of UK and US recruiters.
Yeah, fab. And obviously, just taking it back slightly, so you knew you wanted to do the US. The US is ginormous.
Yes.
When looking at where in the US you wanted to go, how did you kind of strategically think about that?
Definitely. Yeah. So we have, just clarify, we've got a satellite office in Austin and we've got a physical presence in New York. So for me, obviously it's looking at where the boom markets are and what's a good market to go for. Austin at the moment is just a boom tech hub. For me, kind of from a selfish point of view, New York, I had clients in New York. I know New York. It's a market that I'm used to and I've worked before. So from a selfish point of view, that was a no-brainer for me to go over there. But I think if I was brand new starting out now, I think, the kind of the Texases, the Miamis, I think, if you look at the kind of tax havens, that's where the kind of growth seems to be right now. So those areas are definitely ones that I'd recommend for anybody going over there. But I mean, you've also got to look at where you want to be based, like from a personal point of view, like where is a great place to grow and to find good people, good talent. So it's also looking at the universities that are there that can feed into your business. And it's just looking at, the culture of the organization and which kind of state is going to best match you and your growth.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Like so many people think, I'm looking at North Carolina. It's amazing. But if it's not going to excite you, you're in your bed.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense why a lot of people are off to Miami.
Totally, I mean, it's South Beach, why not? And for me, completely selfishly, I want to retire in Austin. Like that's my plan to get over there when my kids are at university and they sell the nest. So to have and build a business over there, for me, is a no-brainer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And in terms of getting UK talent out to the US, how did you go about then building US talent around that? Or how have you taken more talent out? What does the current team in New York?
So the current team is a mixture of US and UK recruiters. So we are doing a mixture of kind of organic growth to bring people in a trainee level and then working them through. And we're also looking at, we've brought in some people from other kind of recruitment organizations. For us, it's definitely like we want to create a kind of a university in the UK where people can come in, learn their trade, learn their kind of skill, and then we sponsor them and move them over to the US. Totally. I think, if you look at a good kind of 300k biller in the UK, we'll easily do 600-700 in the US. So it's just, the opportunity there is insane.
I remember I went straight into recruitment after university, and I had another friend who did exactly the same. Everyone else went and did lawyers, doctors. And I was like, oh, Liz, I've built 300k in my first year. She went over to New York. She was like, I've just done 850. I was like, oh, right. Good luck. Amazing. And in terms of education of US market, obviously very different market to the UK.
Yeah.
How have you kind of embedded that into kind of the team?
Definitely. And I think for me, the reason I love the US market so much is it's almost like the UK was a couple of, 10 years ago. It's very relationship based.
Yeah.
So, the clients that we've got, we go in, we do an initially good job for them. If you do a good job for them, they will be your partner for life. And it's not kind of, in the UK, you always get this kind of race to the bottom on margins and rates. It just isn't like that. You do a good job for people, you will be that kind of partner for them as they grow and expand their business. So the relationships we've got when we first launched America are now just like blossoming and just being, incredibly good for us. Yeah. Obviously, again, through what's been a tough time for recruitment in this last 6 months, our kind of key clients have really carried us through that because of that loyalty and that, the fact that they've come back to us time and time again. So, it's just, anyway, it's a very relationship driven business in the US, and people are happy to pay for a good service.
Yeah.
It's not kind of this kind of scrappy, 15%, 14%, that kind of business. It's really relationship driven, and people see value in what you do, which is really nice.
And would you say kind of the BD approaches are similar? How did you start to build clients in the US?
So I think my kind of secret source, as it were, which I talk to people about, is whenever we've started a new office, we've done these kind of launch dinners and launch events. Nice. And every time we do, so for example, we've done talent ones, we've done CTO ones, where we'll get 15, 20 high-level CTO or heads of talent around the table, have a dinner, have a networking event, and introduce ourselves. It's not a hard sell. It's just we're creating communities, we're creating networks for you guys to meet other people and network. And the feedback for those has just been amazing. Like, just such positive feedback, and we've won so much business off the back of them because US firms don't seem to be doing this. They seem to be quite transactional. So because we're bringing that kind of relationship and partnership into it, it's been really successful for us. So definitely get in front of clients as much as you can. I think that, again, the US recruiters don't tend to do that as much as we do, and just build relationships with people.
I think Americans are very good at saying yes.
Correct,
And US recruiters traditionally haven't been very niche with what they do. So when you get a UK recruiter in front of someone and say, this is exactly what we specialize in, you can get super sticky.
Totally, exactly.
So on those fees, average margins, what are you kind of seeing? Let's kind of break it up, perm and contract.
Perm and contract. So on our contract business, if I kind of compare UK to US, so our average margin in the UK is about 18.5%, 19%. In the US, it's about 32%. So, not far off double. And on the perm side of things, average in the UK is about 19%, whereas about 23.5% in the US. So, it's just again, it's people see the value in what we do. The other thing that we see a lot of in the US is really kind of doing a wraparound around our service. And that's on both contract and permanent. But very much a client will come to us and say, over the course of the next 12 months, this is our recruitment plan, and really sitting down with them, understanding their business and what they're looking to achieve over a 6-month or a 12-month period. And then we've done a complete wraparound. So like a mini RPO, you might say, where we've given them economies of scale. So the more people they've hired off us, whether it be on a retained basis or contingency or on contracts, that margin has decreased as the volume goes up. But again, not decreased to like, 8-9% like you might get in the UK, but it's decreasing to like 17-18% when we're looking at 20-30 hires. So again, I find that the clients in the US, and I feel like I'm not slaying off my UK clients here, by the way. I love my UK clients. We love you. But clients in the US, they're happy to sit down and talk about what does the next 6 months look like, what does the next 12 months look like, and how can we genuinely partner with you to support you on your growth in that period.
Yeah. And the actual process of recruiting, like from picking up your job to getting candidates in front of your clients to how quickly they move, do you see a big difference to kind of the process?
Totally. I think there are, and again, not wanting to pigeonhole clients here, but one of the things we do see in the US is that there's some companies that like to interview for the sake of interviewing and like to go to market, and you've got to be very quick to say, okay, we put a lot of investment into this client and a lot of time into it for not a lot of outcome. So you've got to be very, very careful with that sort of things. But for me, the clients that do want to genuinely recruit and take it seriously, the process can move super quick. And the one thing I love about some of the relationships we've got over in the US at the moment is that they're coming to us and saying, look, can you help us design the interview process? Can we look at the assessments? Can you help us design them? ChatGPT, thanks very much. But can you help us with kind of creating these interview processes? And that again, it's just that partnership piece, which is working really well.
It's also at-will employment in the US.
Totally.
It just like people can pick up a job, fill it, and invoice in 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, and all of our terms are invoice and acceptance rather than start. And apart from the fact that US firms pay by check still, which is absolutely crazy, they tend to pay on time as well, which is great for any kind of growth or startup business.
And less dropouts. Do you see
less dropouts? Yeah, we tend to have we have pretty much zero dropouts in the US business, which has been fantastic. And contractors, if they go in and do a good job, there's constant extensions coming through on that side. So yeah, it's just a really healthy business.
Yeah, and with that partnership piece, do you do contingent, retained? I've had some clients who said we've been asked to be retained.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say about 50% of our business is retained on the permanent side. So yeah, again, it's people seeing value in the service that you do, and even sometimes we'll go in, we'll do the initial on contingency, but we'll agree to it because there's the other fact of if we do a good job for you on this one, the next one's retained.
Yeah.
And obviously we go and do a good job and then secure it from there. Yeah, proofs in the pudding. Yeah.
And contracts. So did you go perm first?
We did, yeah. For the simple reason, build your war chest of cash. I think for anybody that's, starting a new business, it's important to have that. And, depending on if you're doing invoice finance for your contract, but being able to get invoice finance in the US can sometimes prove difficult. So we started off doing perm, build the war chest, and then started, it was literally, it found us to start with, which was great. So we started making contract placements from that side. And then we found just a lot of companies in the US, if you start doing perm recruitment for them, you need to explain that you also do contracts.
Okay.
So they tend to be like, we just thought you were a perm recruiter. So you've really got to make sure educationally you're going and saying, by the way, we do also do contract.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be quite a divide in terms of contract and perm agencies over there.
So have you ever had clients come to you and say, can you do?
Correct. Yeah. We all clients saying we didn't know you did.
Yeah.
So, and that's completely on us, right? We need to be educating our clients. But I think it's important that you do really market yourself as doing both.
Yeah. And contract in tech. So remind me, what did you say the balance was at the moment?
So we're 46.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So pretty much down the middle.
Yeah.
And do you separate your consultants out to perm contracts, or are they?
So in the US, we've got quite a small team, so we're doing dual desk. If anybody knows me, I hate dual desk. I'm a contract consultant, but obviously if the team grows and we expand, then absolutely we will sort of separate it out. But at the moment, because of the team size, we've got a dual desk. In the UK business, we have them split out because it's a slightly larger team. But the roadmap is definitely to split those teams out into contract and perm.
Yeah. Contract in the US is a bit of a bigger beast when it comes to payment, compliance, the legislation. How did you go about kind of educating both yourself and your consultants?
Totally. I think if you're going to the US completely blind, and if you think you understand the UK contract market and how that works, you're then dealing with 52 different instances of that in the US. So it's just literally mind-blowing. So I think that the most important thing with anything in life, if you are dealing with something that's complicated, is get an expert on your side. And that for us is where PGC has just been absolutely invaluable in terms of knowing and understanding the legal complexities and compliance within each of those individual 50 states is so important. So do not try and wing it. Make sure you have incredible insurance because that's something that you need to protect yourself when you go into anything like this. But also just get expert advice, and that's where you guys have been incredible.
Yeah, love that. And with your contract again, just specifically. So educating the team, part of the training, you know, all of that culture. How have you kind of embedded? Do people come in and go perm first? I know you mentioned you've done a bit of a graduate, I guess, strategy when it comes to talent. How are the consultants coming in and how are they dual desk?
Yeah, so we're training on dual desk from the start. So all of our consultants get training on perm recruitment and contract recruitment. But again, you need to make sure you're training your consultants, especially in the US market, right? So if you're looking at, a client comes to you with a budget of $200 an hour, what's the pay rate going to be? You need to get your consultants trained to understand this is the calculation I'm going to do. And that's, again, I'll sing your praises again, but this is why, you'll come in, you'll do training with our team, you'll explain to them how it works. You can literally give a very simple pricing and kind of calculation to show if it's in Texas, this is the deduction you need to do. If it's in New York, this is the deduction you need to do. So just being able to equip your consultants with the knowledge and the skill set to be able to have those confident conversations with clients is super important. So again, get an expert on your side.
And it is that knowledge and understanding, like you say, like if you can't articulate it to your clients and you can't educate them,
you can't sell it.
What we can do, how
exactly.
we can keep you compliant, you're not going to get your jobs on.
Totally. And compliance, is the buzzword here, right? Companies don't want to be getting a legal letter through in 3-6 months time. So if you can, confidently stand up to your client and say, we are super compliant because of X, Y, Z, it's just another USP for you when you're selling to your clients.
It's so true. And I think the more kind of round tables or panels you listen to, everyone's like, you will get sued. It's like, brilliant. Like, can't wait.
Nobody thinks they get sued until they actually get sued. And that's when it's like, okay, maybe I should have looked at it. So 100%.
Love it. How did you first hear about PGC?
Goodness me. I think, it was a long time ago. So I imagine it was kind of LinkedIn or some kind of event, AppSco event or, RDLC event that I went to. But yeah, for me, it was an instant kind of no-brainer because it's just the knowledge, the compliance. And for me, it's you're not just a payroll company. Okay. It's, if you're looking to build a business in the US, go to them from day one, right? Because it's not just about contractor payroll. It's about your visas, your setup, where's the best state to start in. The advice is literally like gold dust. And being with somebody, if you're ever going to start anything new, speak to someone who's done it. Learn from their mistakes. Learn from the people that have already made the mistakes so you don't have to, because you'll just save yourself so much time and effort. So if you are literally thinking about doing the US, number one call, PGC.
Love it. Any war stories from the US? Anything you would have thought, damn, I wish I would have known that?
I think just when you're hiring experienced recruiters in the US, just tread very carefully. I think there's. Are
you experienced?
Yeah. And I think it's just the business development aspect. I think the definition of a 360 recruiter in the UK market is very different to that in the US market. So I think just in your interview process, just really drill down on, what's your business development strategy? How have you gone out and won clients? What are your methodologies to win and bring in new business to the table? Because a lot of companies have a 180 model. So they have people going out, bringing in clients, and then they're sourcing and filling those roles. Choose your states wisely. I think absolutely do your market research beforehand. Go niche, or niche. Go niche, and own your vertical and own your market. Build communities. That's one thing that we've, we didn't do to start with, and it's just paid out such dividends. So we tend to focus on mainly data roles in our New York office. And we've built our communities on Slack, through cocktail evenings, through drinks, through dinners. And we're now at a point where that's kind of snowballed to a point where people are being referred to us. Clients, jobs, we're having roles called in because of the kind of communities that we've created now. So it's an initial investment, definitely, but once it takes off, the dividends are insane.
I think that's another big thing. It's just clients really understanding how much it is going to cost. Yes, you can sit in your UK office and you can love the big fees because the salaries are big. But as soon as you tell them, grad might cost you 50, 55K in experience, they're like, what? It's like, well, it takes two to kind of...
Absolutely. And it's an investment, definitely. And I think, one of the things that I've certainly seen in the market in the last kind of, from January onwards is a lot of the big UK firms who have big teams in the US have scaled back because obviously if it went quiet, big overheads over there when you are running a US team, because salaries are much higher. So again, if you're doing it build your war chest. Okay, get that cash in the bank that you can, you can survive a 6-month, 12-month downtime. If things do kind of turn off a little bit. Market now, we are back, baby. Like, it's great. Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic to see now. We've the brilliant thing for us is when things kind of quieten down and some of our key clients maybe turn the taps off a little bit, we obviously, you've got to go out and win your business. So it's about retraining. Some of our consultants are less than 2 years experience, hadn't seen a downturn, right? They've had this most amazing 2 years of recruitment. It's raining money. Like, this is fantastic.
My phone stopped working.
Yeah, I know. Why isn't he calling me? Like, what's going on? So we just massively, invest in training, in terms of business development, how to go out, how to win new labels. Invested and put a load of money into the networking, the community side of things, as we talked about. And now that things have come back, we've got all these new clients that we've won, and also our existing clients to turn the taps back on. So we're in a really strong position. So we're hiring across all offices. Amazing. Plug.
Ben's all and in terms of kind of cross-selling, I guess UK to US, have you got a large kind of majority of clients?
Yeah, totally. And I think it's really important from a marketing perspective that you are shouting to your clients that, hi, we have also offices in the UK and the US, both ways. And it's definitely like we've had UK clients open up doors in the US, and we've had US clients open up doors in the UK. So the cross-sells really good. Yeah.
And when you've got clients in the UK that go over to or ask you to help in the US, how do you go about your fees?
We have 2 separate terms. Okay, so I've got one client in particular that we have 25 in the US and 20 in the UK.
Nice. Yeah. Love it. So obviously you have built team in the UK, highly successful, team in the US, equally successful. How's it been as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think, if you've got 2 teams across different time zones as CEO, you can, you're online till 11 o'clock most nights, which is, it's tough. It's definitely hard. And I tend to do kind of two days US a week. So I'll work to kind of 10, 11 o'clock 2 nights a week. But it's hard, working on 2 different time zones is difficult. So you've got to be prepared for that. You can't just literally turn your phone off at 5:30 and think, right, thanks so much. And also, managing a team that's on the other side of the world, I try and go over to the US at least once every 2 months to have that kind of face-to-face interaction. For me personally, with any business I've run, having that face-to-face personal time with your leaders, with your team is so super important. So if you are looking to start up in the US, building those costs into your business, again, important, because you need to be over there. You need to be boots on the ground. You need to be having face-to-face time with people. And I think, being somebody who's gone off and started an office or a business for other people before, it's very different when you're working in an office and you're starting a team with loads of people around you. When you're starting an office by yourself in a different country, it's a very lonely experience. Shout out to Tim, who runs my New York office. Moved over to America. He'd never even been to New York before, never been to America before. Moved over there and has just settled in so perfectly. I think he will admit the first 2 weeks obviously very daunting, like, oh my God, what have I done? But then the more you get into it, the more you understand the culture, the easier it gets. But it's tough. Like, there's no denying it's very tough moving to a brand new country, starting and building a business, but effectively on your own can be very daunting. So from a leadership point of view, giving them as much support, as much help, even stuff like, getting your your national insurance number, but your
oh my gosh, social security.
So getting your social security number, how to do that, how to build your credit up in the US, your deposit for your initial flat. So as a company, we did a bond for him so he could go and rent his flat initially. All these little things. I think if you're sending people over to the US, you want it to be as seamless for them as possible. So again, research, PGC, again, have been brilliant for this, but research and help your employees go over there, because it's such a big thing for anybody to move country. It's your life change, totally. And I think them dealing with a different culture, being away from their family, their friends, if you can do as much as possible as a business to make that transition super, easy, then it will make the whole thing for them a lot easier as well.
It's also like you're going to plug in so much investment. You don't want them to arrive and be like, oh, Ben, sorry, actually,
I'm coming back.
I don't like it.
Totally.
Like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And culture-wise, have you been able to kind of maintain, the Primis?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Primis culture is obviously there across all of our offices, but it's you can't think that you're going to run a business in the US like you do in the UK. There are definite differences, and I think it's really important that you go into this with your eyes wide open and you understand that American culture is different to UK culture. We obviously speak the same language, but we speak different languages. And I think, it's important that you understand stuff like, for example, in America, you get paid twice a month. So you get paid mid-month, you get paid end of month. In my previous company, when I first launched America, we were paying people once a month. And bringing new people into the business going, I can't budget for this. I can't work for this. So, we now run 2 payrolls a month, and just understanding the nuances, the differences, again, not just by the country, but by the state. Okay. There are different nuances by each state that you go into. So again, leaning on people that can give you advice, going and talking to other people that have done it through your network, through again, PGC and the incredible advice that you guys give. Learn from other people's mistakes. Don't go in there blind. Do your research properly, and make sure you're not going to cost yourself a lot of money, because if you get it wrong, it's super expensive to get wrong.
And just on culture, so obviously post-pandemic, massive remote working, hybrid working. What's your kind of take on it?
So we're 3 days in, 2 days at home. I think for me, it's nice to have a good balance. And I think people like the flexibility now of having a couple of days at home, doing their washing, taking the dog for a walk, tidy the house, have a sleep in maybe. But yeah, for me, it's really important that we have those in-office days. So we have all hands in on a Tuesday. So it's like our quarter where everybody's in, and we'll do comps, we'll do some fun stuff to really kind of drive the culture. But it's also, I think, for if you're bringing a kind of trainee workforce through and doing organic growth, which we're doing, you need to have people next to each other. So it's that kind of osmosis of learning. That's the way I learn, right? You hear your boss on the phone closing in a certain way, doing business development in a certain way, and you start like picking up what they're saying and you implement it into your own calls. So I think it's absolutely crucial that you have that. So yeah, for us, nice balance, hybrid, 3 and 2 works really well for us.
Fab. And casting our eyes right back before Primis, before you would even touch the US, dipped your toe in the US. What was it that fascinated you about the US market?
I think first of all, I love America. I think it's a great country, a great economy, and just the variety there, first of all, is just incredible. Big foodie, so lots of different foods, which is incredible. But I think just the volume of revenue, the clients, if you look at, sure you've got the figures, but in terms of the recruitment market over there is just insanely big versus the number of agencies over there. So just in terms of competition and being able to monopolize the market and grow your market share, the opportunity is insane. But average invoice value, everything that's out there, from building solid relationships with people, it's just a great market. And I think, not that I don't love the UK market, I definitely do. It's a really relationship-driven market, which just suits me perfectly well in terms of the way that I do business. So yeah, I think if you tie in the fact that America is huge, amazing, beautiful place, loads of places to see. I've probably done 10% of it in my life, so loads more to experience, and the fact you get to go and do business over there, what's not to love?
I think it's like a perfect harmony. You've got 4 times the market share in the US, less recruiters.
Less competition.
But even like taking UK recruiters, which have kind of grown up in such a saturated market, you take one of them, drop them in the US, it's just
perfect.
Incredible. And PGC. So let's talk a little bit about PGC, how we've kind of supported and helped you. What has kind of been your experience with PGC from day one to...
Of course. I think, I've seen PGC evolve over the years, which has been amazing. And I think they're far much more than just a payroll company. It's a really kind of one-stop shop for me for everything you need if you're doing business in the US. Even just from their network for referrals for rec-to-rec agencies or compliance or insurance, like everything you possibly need is bundled up into this, this one company, PGC, which is great. Service is amazing. Shout out to Amy. If you WhatsApp Amy, no matter what time zone she's in, she'll come back to you. I'm not saying everyone should do that because she'll hate me. But it's the personal service is just amazing. If you've got a query about paying somebody in Toronto or different, state or, holiday pay, anything like that you're just on hand. And we've even kind of built into our new starter training, week 2, PGC, have the masterclass. And really kind of understand, what all the different states mean, all this kind of stuff. but you're embedded in our training program, which, you know, I think goes to say the value that you guys add to our business, and the partnership, which we talked about a lot today. You know, it goes from our clients to us to you guys at PGC. Yeah. So it's lovely.
Love it. Love to hear that. I think we always say, you know, we strive to be an extension of your team.
Definitely.
So love that you feel that way.
100%. And it's also, it's a very proactive relationship. So, you know, when you're looking at 52 different states, there's a lot of compliance changes, there's a lot of legislation changing on a very regular basis, and you're constantly coming to us saying, this is what's happening, this is what's going. So we can then use that and take that to our clients, and it makes us look proactive to our clients, even though it's you feeding us secretly. It makes us look good. And obviously, any supply relationship, you make us look good, that's a great thing for us.
And what is next for Primis? Let's talk Primis as a business, and then
if I do my like Dr. Evil world domination. So yeah, it's growth. You know, we're hiring right now across UK and US. I think, you know, the growth in the US is a kind of main focus for us. There's so much market share out there that we can grab, as you know, the tech market is now, you know, massively back open business again. So yeah, we're looking to grow and hire. We're currently 40 heads. We want to be at kind of 80 to 100 by end of Q1 next year. You know, we're privately owned business, so, you know, we're just looking to organically do that growth. And then, who knows, next 5 years, we need to kind of get 250, 300 heads is the ideal.
Tech just always blows my mind. I think the tech market in the US is the same size as pretty much the whole UK market.
Correct. It's the same. Yeah.
And just thinking about growth as well. So New York office, are you currently servicing clients all over?
All over East and West Coast, yeah. So we've got Austin, which is satellite, and then we've got New York, so there's East Coast, but we're servicing clients all over the US,
And you mentioned earlier Austin, retirement, rocking chair.
Be a grumpy old man on on the porch with a shotgun, and just living out my best life. No, Austin's great, you know, in terms of the food scene, the restaurant scene. It's a massive growth city. It's super clean. The people are super friendly. It's just a really lovely place to be. So and obviously there's glorious sunshine. Who's not to love?
For too many days.
Too many days a year. Yeah.
Love it. So, someone sat watching us talking about your huge successes in the US. You obviously know so much now. Any big mistakes or learnings that you could share?
Yeah, I think it's important whenever you're starting up something new, especially in a different country. And if you as the CEO are not going to move over there, you're going to stay in your roots, then you've got to have somebody that you can really trust to run it and own that relationship. So having somebody that is experienced or has the support to go and build a business effectively on their own, you know, with time difference, with your physical presence, not being over there the entire time, you need somebody who lives and breathes your values, your kind of morals and what you're looking to achieve. So get that right, I think, is the most important thing, I would say. I think if you as a CEO, as owner, are going to go over there for the first 6 months, then brilliant. And that would be my, you know, absolute advice. If you don't have young kids or whatever, then definitely do that. But I think, you know, from my learns in the past, you know, if you've got a junior team and you're leaving them to it by themselves, it can very easily kind of go off track. So experience, somebody that's absolutely lives and breathes your morals. You know, I can confidently say now that the team I have in the US, absolutely, you know, experienced, live and breathe what we are all about as a business, incredible work ethic, and looking just to grow and expand as much as I do, is just the perfect kind of solution. So don't rush into it until you get the right team in place, because as we've said earlier, it can be a huge cost to you if you get it wrong. And I see so many businesses go, we're going to the US, and, you know, 6 months later, we've just spent 200K and we've got
Jimmy, our top biller, off you go.
Totally. And then you lose your top biller from the UK because you got it wrong. So that person at the top of the tree, if it's not you, make sure they are experienced, you trust them, they're locked in, so give them some shares, give them something that's going to be an intrinsic tie for them, an emotional tie for them to go and effectively build a brand new business for you. I think it's super important.
Yeah, amazing. Ben, you have been incredible once again. Thank you so much for coming on, joining us, and super excited to see what's ahead.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you in Austin.
We will. Thank you.
Want help mapping out your US expansion? Visit us at www.pgcgroup.com to learn more or schedule a free US expansion opportunity session with one of our consultants.